Okay, now for the benefit of everybody, I will say again, okay? Here, I'll turn down my input a little bit. People said it was too loud. You keep saying it's muddled. No, my view is not muddled. You're muddled. Your own cognitive models are blocking the information. It's very simple and very laid out. Okay? Because of the limits of the solipsistic argument that you can't really know about anybody else's subjective, you can't have experiences of other people's subjective perceptions as such. When you're talking about things like consciousness, like saying, is that entity conscious of me? Is it conscious of this other entity? When you are doing that, you have to do it based on the thing's behavior. And nobody has shown to me a fundamental distinction between the behavior of a dog sniffing out food and an amoeba sniffing out sugars. Okay, nobody has shown me that distinction. That is not muddled. You can disagree with it, but you're doing yourself some foolishness if you really have to insist it's muddled. It can be gotten clear. Maybe you need to take it like something that you've studied in the past that had to be thought about to be made clear. It is absolutely possible to understand this clearly, even if you disagree with it. The argument is that you have to define a cognitive term behaviorally, and then you find out when that behavioral definition applies to yourself, and you can refer to subjective experiences and speculate as to how similar they are to other people. It is speculation. Now, I do not think when we get much past the mammals, we really have to do a lot of speculation about how it feels subjectively. We can work with behavioral definitions. So when we are asking, are we keeping this animal well? Let's say we're rescuing birds and we want to make sure we are keeping the birds in a healthy, happy environment. We will observe their behavior, and we do not need to wonder what the subjective experience feels like except for poetic reasons. And we can still determine, wait, these birds, we're trying to save them, but they're having stress because we're keeping them cooped up in little cages. We should make an aviary. All right? You can ask questions like that and answer them with behavior in a material way. That's not muddled. All of these definitions you guys are talking about that you act like was so clear, and in Gary's case, so clear even 1,000 years ago, those definitions are very hard to pin down. This essence of innerness. My definitions are very easy to pin down, and you, if you want to make a material scientific argument, you have to use this observation mode. That's what science does, and you have to come up with the distinction of why there's a fundamental distinction. Because I can describe the fundamental distinction between a thermostat and an amoeba. Okay. But you can't come up with one so far between the dog sniffing out food and the amoeba sniffing out its food. We can talk about the difference in that one doesn't perceive vision, one doesn't, but in a fundamental sense, that part of those behaviors are the same. What is different? It's different because of the kind of food. It's different because of the what? Because you can talk about the differences, fine, but you can't act like there's no commonality to explain a commonality. It just might be some things are common to all life forms, like DNA, on Earth at least. I hope that clarified the situation for those requiring such a clarification.